So, welcome. A little bit about me. My name's Dan. Cheers. Um, I'm basically a guitar player. I was part of a band here in the local scene called Between Colors. We did 2 albums together. It was awesome. It was a crazy time. And lately I've been trying to get more into the composing side of things and to work on different styles. And this is basically what we're doing today. I wanted to kind of push myself to both be more productive and also to kind of share what I know so far in this crazy journey called music and production and writing and composition and all of that. And maybe you guys can teach me something as well, either here live on Twitch or in the comments section on YouTube or on social media or whatever, because I've got like a ton to learn as well. All righty then. Let me just get you through sort of my setup here. I'll just mute this intermission song. I'm working in Cubase. It's my favorite DAW. It really helps me to get things done, and I just love the way it works. And for composing and mixing and kind of everything, even recording, I use it. We're gonna be working with a couple of paid plugins. Slate Digital, the whole suite, I have it. It's a great subscription service, and their plugins just make everything sound 10 times more awesome, and they're super easy to use. But also I have Get Good Drums, which again is a paid library, the modern and massive one, which is again pretty amazing, and especially for our purposes here, because you can just sort of drop it in a composition, use their sort of preset mixes, and they sound absolutely fantastic in a orchestral or compositional sort of setting. And the rest I have all free plugins and free libraries. My main one is going to be BBC Symphonic Orchestra Discover, and I know it has some drawbacks, but it can actually sound pretty cool if you blend it in with other sort of free libraries, and I'll take you through that process as well, and mixing it and making it sound more aggressive. Now I just want to double check, is everything coming loud and clear on my voice? Can everybody hear me well? Okay, great, thanks, cheers. And let's just get right on through it. I'll just play the clip I have so far. I want to write a sort of orchestral synthwave track. And I've already got an idea while testing the stream yesterday of a simple chord progression and line, and we'll make it much crazier starting from there. So I'm gonna hit play. And you guys can let me know if it's too loud or too quiet or whatever. So I'll shush now. So pretty basic stuff. You guys hearing it? Are you guys hearing it okay? Just right. Perfect. That's what I like to see. Thank you. Okay. So let's see what we have so far. We got like a simple chord progression going. That's basically going D, A sharp, B, and then back to C. And our line over here, these shorts, pretty basic stuff. It's going D, E, F, and G. And I'll try to do my best to show you guys the mix console on the main screen as well, so that you can see my sort of mixing of stuff. And for anyone that's sort of outside of the whole music composition or production realm, this is the program in which songs basically are done, or at least one of them. And over here is basically, you can think of like a piano roll, or this is where we input the notes that the instruments are playing, and you've got over here the actual instruments. These shorts are from a Kontakt library, a free Kontakt library called the Free Orchestra, from Project Sam. And they've got some really cool instruments over here. And I'm using the short strings, which I think is a combination of violins, violas, maybe some celli, and some contrabasses if you're going down low. And it sounds absolutely fantastic. I use it for the main shorts instead of the BBC Symphonic Orchestra, which tends to be a bit quieter. Now for the basses, I'm using Anna 2, which is a synth that is part of the Slate Digital subscription, which is about around like $20 or $16 a month. And I'm using the Fat Juno bass preset as well as the Prophet bass preset. These are fantastic. You can hear that they just sound right out of the box. There's just a little tweaking that we need to do to fit them in the mix. And for the drums, I just have a basic setup going with the Lindrum kick and the Lindrum snare, kick 1 and snare 1, which are part of a pack, again from the Slate Digital thing made by Brad Brunazzi. There's some samples that he captured off the original drum machines, which gives us that sort of synth wavy vibe. Alrighty then. Now, as for mixing, let's see what we have so far. For the kick and the snares, I've just got some cleanup EQ going over here. I like my kicks and snares pretty scooped. And we have some EQ, some parallel compression, as well as some main compression over here, and some distortion to fatten it up. Now the snare, I know it sounds pretty dinky so far, but we're gonna make it sound with much more body and much cooler, I hope. And for the mastering chain, let me just show you over here. It's a pretty basic sort of smile EQ with a little dip in the low mids because it tends to get pretty muddy over there. I've just got some compression going, mostly reacting to the snare. You'll see it. We've got a pretty huge lag here on Twitch, but hopefully you'll be able to see that it's kind of reacting to the snare only. You see that needle pushing? It's reacting to the snare for the most part. And that's what we want to do. We've got some tape machines going to kind of bring out that analog sound and make it sound a little less digital. Some ozone imager for the stereo widening to make it sound a little bit more professional. But I've got 2 slots over here, and we'll get to those at one point. Usually it's just a sort of EQ trick that I do to create some separation between the mid and the side channels, as well as some other Slate plugins to sort of boost the low end and the high end. And finally, for our limiter, we're using the Slate FGX, which is just awesome. It's so incredibly cool. And for our reverb, we're using the Verb Suite Classics. Mostly I'm going to have this sort of all verb channel going to make it sound like you're in an orchestral hall and everybody's kind of playing together. And I'm using a preset called Lush Orchestra, and I just tweaked the decay a little bit to match our project tempo, which is 95. You can't see it really on screen right now because my face is covering it, but yeah. This is what we have so far. Now, I want to get started. I see we have 4 viewers again on the stream. Welcome, welcome. Unless there are any questions, I'll get started and sort of massage this idea into something that's a lot cooler. Maybe we'll write an intro or anything like that. Let me just have a little drink because I'm going to be talking a lot. All righty then. Let's go. Okay, so what do I want to do? So this is going to be sort of our intro idea. I want to sort of fatten up that snare, but it's not the right time right now. I want to clean up this bass a little bit because it's clashing with the kick drum. Let's go into our mixer over here. Let's clean up some of this extra low end from our basses. And what we're going to do is we're going to I'm going to sort of select this part and leave it on a loop. Now, what you're seeing me do right now, and I'm gonna try to be as descriptive as possible because again, one of the reasons why I'm doing this is because I noticed that in a lot of the materials, a lot of the videos on YouTube that I've watched and I've learned a lot from, they don't sort of go down to the nitty-gritty of things and why people are doing these moves in a sort of very newbie friendly way, right? If you're just starting out, you see me doing this move, you see me saying things like I want to clean up some space for the snare, but what does that mean? Why are we doing that? And I'll actually show you. Hopefully it'll be helpful. So if we go to our kick over here and we check out its EQ. So when we're talking about EQ, we're talking about changing some of the frequencies that are kind of made up, that kind of make up the sound. Yeah. Okay. You have our kick. We have our kick over here, and we have our bass over here. Now you see that the kick is mostly kind of happening in this area, and in the sort of 50, 60, 70 hertz area. Now we don't want that area to be very present in our bass as well. We want to clean that up. And we just carve out a little space for our kick over here in our bass and kind of accentuate the fact that the bass should be staying at between sort of 100 to 200 hertz. Another dip you're kind of seeing me do over here is at 200, which is usually where our snare sits. So if we look over here, this is our snare up here. Yeah, you see that big frequency happening over there. And you can hear already that things are sort of separated. They're kind of sitting in their own spaces, which I think is pretty cool. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to sort of dip here in the high end for our bass because we want to leave space for instruments that are going to take up that spot, basically like violins, your lead synths and stuff like that. Not too much. We're not doing too much because we don't want to take away from the character of the sound, which we don't want to do. We like this bass sound, or I like this bass sound at least. Okay, we're gonna cut a little bit of the extreme high end as well. Another thing that you kind of have to be careful with these presets is that you shouldn't have any, so this is tape distortion, but you shouldn't have any really delay on these basses, right? We want them to be clean. Okay, cool. Let's clean up the Prophet bass as well. Do kind of the same thing to force the Prophet bass to sit alongside the Juno bass. And our Juno, our Prophet bass is not sounding that cool, so let's fix that. I think it's too low, at least. That's what you want. Let's see how they interact together. Cool. I think that sounds pretty cool. Let's see it work with the other instruments. I think in the drum and bass department we're sitting pretty tight. Okay, let's clean up the strings a little bit and then we'll actually do some creative work and write the intro to this song. So, in the strings, we've got, again, a lot of frequencies that are kind of clashing with our kick and snare, and we don't want that to happen. So, we're gonna use a multi-band compressor to kind of tame a little bit those lower frequencies, right? And we're gonna make two bands, a low end and a mid-low. And we're gonna stop these two bands because we don't want them influencing us. It doesn't seem to be that much buildup actually. Come on. Let's check it out over here. Oh, there you go. Okay, so what are we doing now here? So we've got these lower sort of sections of the orchestra, of the strings, right? And you see me pulling down this threshold. And this is basically telling when the compressor should sort of happen, when the compression should happen. And this is a level. And what a compressor does is that it takes down the level that's coming in and outputs a lower one. And that's what we want to do, because we don't want those lower frequencies to build up and clash with our bass drum. Let's hear it with our drums as well. Okay, what tends to happen with strings and with an orchestra, at least from what I can tell, is that usually these low mid frequencies tend to build up and they're pretty boxy and they create a lot of mud in the mix. So we're gonna clean them up now. Maybe later we'll pull them out. I mean, maybe it'll sound a lot better then. We'll see. Okay, so let's see our whole sort of arrangement so far. Okay, it doesn't sound super epic, but we can hear all of the instruments clearly, or at least I can. So hopefully you guys agree that it's a lot cleaner sound right now. And let's go and do that intro. So I'm gonna just write in a little piece over here. Right, I want to get an atmosphere going, right? First of all. So we're gonna be writing in D. And also, if you're still with us, or I'm not sure, you can type in the chat how to say your name, so that I can stop butchering it, by the way. That'll be helpful, thanks. But you were mentioning that you would like to, that you like the sort of demo song that I played during the intermission. Maybe we can take a look at that as well. That was actually a song I wanted to post before our stream, but unfortunately Cubase sort of croaked on me. I'm not able to sort of open that project anymore without my CPU going to 100% and just keeling over, basically. For some reason, but we can talk about it, and you're gonna see a lot of the techniques that I used in there actually in this song as well. It's written from the same key, and we'll be using a lot of the same techniques, because again, this is one style that I don't really see when I'm searching for it online, like orchestral synthwave. It is a thing, I think. Blade Runner 2049, I think, had some of these elements, unless I'm mistaken. Journal, like gent, nice, man. DAWs do that to all of us sometimes. It's okay. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, definitely. Usually Cubase is really good to me, especially Cubase 10. I've been loving it for the most part, but sometimes I swear to God, whenever I'm the most pressured, that's when it just, you know. But yeah, we will be using a lot of the techniques and the stuff that I did there in this song as well. And it's really a shame. This is really a style I'd like to see more done, actually, like orchestral synthwave. It's because you've got the best of both worlds. You've got like a cinematic sort of epic symphonic sound, but you can also get the retro wavy sound, right? Which I like, at least. I like a lot. I used to be a metal musician, basically, like, and I do enjoy gent music. But lately I've been really sort of listening more to electronic and retro wavy stuff. I love that too. I love a lot of music. Music is cool, man. Anyway, so let's start it out. This bass is too low. Okay, let's put it on the Juno bass as well. Okay. So we can start with that, and we can start with a basic sort of kick pattern going. Oh yeah, I can see the neon. I can see the neon already. Let's go crazy. Let's do something kooky. Let me go on the synths track. Let me put, like, I don't know. Let's get a filter going. Can I actually use the... Do I have a Cubase filter I can use? No, but I can use frequency. And I can do this. And I can put it over here. And I want to basically do this. Ah. Should select that part, Dan. You should totally do it. We've got 5 viewers. Welcome. We are writing music and we are talking about it. And it's cool because music is cool. Okay. Hold on. Don't do me dirty like this. Come on. Come on, I want to show you. Like, this is the effect. It's a filtering effect. I don't know if a lot of people hear it in a lot of music, but I don't know if a lot of musicians actually like, at least starting out, know how this effect is done. And it's really simple. It's really cool. It sounds great. And I'm saying all of this, by the way, because I do follow quite a few like subreddits. We Are the Music Makers, RQBase, and RFL Studio, EDM production and stuff like that, and I see a lot of beginner questions regarding these techniques and how to do them and how to make things sit in the mix and all of that. The mix, especially, like the mix and mastering, usually is such a nebulous concept for a lot of people when they're starting out. It was to me when I started out, like 14 years ago, 13 years ago. And it still is to me. So that's another one of the reasons why we're doing this. Okay, so let's do this. Yeah, and that's basically the effect that we want to do. Alrighty then. Let's turn this back on. And another trick you can do is that you can actually sort of use either this band, yeah, to notch it up a little bit here to kind of accentuate that effect. And we're going to use a compressor to, because when we're doing this, we need to trigger the compressor so that the volume doesn't jump up really, really crazy, yeah? Apparently the volume is so low that this compressor is not actually picking it up. So we need to use a different compressor, and we're going to use the red compressor. Give it some of that analog feel and drive. Let's see if this picks it up. Ratio 2:5. Yeah, that's what I like to see. I want to see this pinned. I want to give it sort of a quick pumping effect and make it sound a little bit quieter. So when the full bass comes in, it'll sound massive, right? By comparison. Okay, and here's where we start delving into automation. You got to do all these sort of... I like to do automation when I'm writing as well, because it gets me inspired, right? I'm getting into a mood, I'm getting into a vibe. And since this is the first time I'm doing it on camera, I am extremely nervous, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We can do this. We can do this together. It's fine. Okay. More. Let's do some automation frequency. And that's going to be band 8. And we're going to... Yeah. Let's do this. And we're gonna, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what we want to see happen. And we're also gonna create an automation track for the bypass, for this effect, EQ bypass, right? And we're gonna turn it on when the actual song starts, right? I'm setting this point as the point where the song starts, and we'll take it from there. Okay, and we also want to bypass that compressor. down there, VBC red and bypass. And there you go. And now okay. We're also going to sort of automate the volume a little bit so that, again, there's a bit of a jump up when we start, when the song starts, right? And we're going to use some samples to, like some cinematic samples or impacts or stuff like that to really bring it home that, bam, we're starting. But we're going to get to that at a later date. Okay. Let's do the same thing over here. So we're going to move the frequency and the multiband on the kick, on the drums as well. Yeah. This is actually misleading. This is going to be our whole percussion group. So these are group tracks. That means that yeah, I know, right? There's another way of doing it where you actually record automation with like sort of fade or something like that. I don't have it. I think I can use the one from the keyboard, but I like to have more control and just drawing it directly. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a sort of I'm used to it sort of thing. And band frequency and add it, and EQ bypass, and we also need to sort of bypass the compressor. Wait, we moved the wrong stuff, didn't we? Yes, we did. Yes, we did. we moved these two instead of these two because we want the stuff right. Okay. Let's recreate these really quickly. EQ, do it, go. And we're gonna do EQ frequency. And EQ bypass, and also over here. I know Fruity Loops like FL Studio does automation really much nicer in my opinion than Cubase does, but Cubase has sort of nicked some functionality from FL Studio as well, which is really cool. Stuff like having a sort of curved automation like you see over here. Well, I guess you can't see it that well, but this sort of curved automation, which is really cool. And what we're also gonna do is, for this automation, for this frequency, we're going to do like this and then sort of ramp it up even more aggressively on the last bar to really get that excitement going, yeah? Okay, hold on just a sec. You want to do this. You want to go here, here, and the bypass, it needs to stop, and I messed with the wrong thing, the reverb. There you go. There you go. Okay, let's see how this performs. Yeah. I think that's a pretty cool vibe. It's starting out really a bit too loud for my taste, so I think, because you've got that sort of first hit, which shouldn't actually be, you shouldn't actually be able to hear it. So we're gonna go to the synths volume and we're gonna do something crazy like this. Now for the percussion, we're gonna sort of do the same, right? And sort of ramp up more on the last thing. Let's see what this sounds like. Okay, what I would really love is for like the EQ to stay pretty down, but the volume be much louder on the kick. I would say that would be a lot better. Let's see. I think we can be a lot more aggressive with the filter over here. It's still not doing what I would like it to do. So I guess we need to bump up the volume a lot louder in the first part, because what's happening is the filter is making the kick sound really, really dark and sort of away, far away. But we want it to be present. We want that thumping, right? To get that vibe going in the song. That's what you want to hear. And the cool thing is that this is the volume, right? So I'm doing like the volume is much louder than when the actual song starts, but I can get away with that because the sound is much darker and a lot of the frequencies are being cut out by the filter, which is really cool, I think. Okay, let's get a more of a vibe going. So I want like a pad. I want a pad. And what sort of pad do I want? I want a synthwave pad. So let's go to our Anna 2, or should we try to use the Prologue? This is a synth that comes with Cubase, right? And it's like it's super silly, right? Like that's just a popcorn sound right there. But we can do some cool stuff with it. We can go to the pads. Am I filtering? Why am I? Okay. Let's try this ethereal pad. Ethereal pad. Ethereal. I think that'll work. I think that'll work really, really cool. Let's just send it to a reverb as well, and we'll double it up with another plugin. So, hey, Abzaroth is following. Cheers, mate. Thanks. Oh my god, this is crazy. I really wasn't expecting like I was expecting like something like 0 viewers and no followers, but this is awesome. Thanks, man. Or lady, don't get me wrong. Welcome. Let's make some music. Okay, where are you at? Prologue. So we're gonna call this intro pad. I guess we're gonna give it a color, and I like to color my pads with this color. We're gonna send it to our grouping of synths. We're gonna turn it down a little bit, and that is being sent to the Allverb, but I want it even more wishy-washy, so I'm gonna use a plugin that Valhalla actually released, this super massive plugin, which is really, really cool. Actually, it's amazing. It's like having an actual Big Sky pedal, if you know it, but for free. That's crazy, right? Is it just me who thinks that's crazy? Because it's quite crazy. Alrighty then, and I'm gonna turn the mix up a little bit. I'm gonna go with a reverb, and I'm going to go with splashy synth. I already like the sound of that, I swear to. Let's see. This needs to be its own thing, doesn't it? Okay, we'll make another sort of group. And we're gonna call it... sorry, I actually have a group here. Okay, so the problem with this pad is that if we want it to be heard while all of this crazy automation is happening, we either need to move the automation to the basses or put put that pad on its own sort of group. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna create a group for effects, and we're gonna send that to the master bus. Okay, we're not gonna put any reverb on it because we're gonna put in some samples as well, like cinematic impacts, stuff like that. And we don't want them to be affected. We want them to be sort of part of our sound. So I'm gonna create another folder in here, and I'm gonna call it effects. Color it. Okay, let's see if we can hear this. No, we cannot. Why can't? We cannot because the effects, because that's still sending to the synths. Oh, I'm sorry, just a second. Where are you at? You want to go to effects. Okay, cool. Is that not a beautiful sound? I gotta say. I love it. Love it. Okay. Let's see if we can actually record it. Now, there's a lot of lag going on. So you'll see that even though I'm trying to play it as precisely as I can, and I'm a terrible keyboard player, like absolutely terrible. I started learning how to play the keyboard, I don't know, something like a few months ago. It's it's really not my forte. But you'll see that the notes that are being recorded are going to be delayed a little bit, and then we just have to select everything and move it earlier a little bit. It's just one of the beautiful things happening when you stream and you're using a lot of your PC resources to stream and record and all of that. So let's see if we can do this. Yeah, you see it over here. It's a tad away from the grid, and we're gonna move it like that, and we're just gonna leave it like that. Okay, and we're gonna cut off the volume when everything hits because we don't want that reverb tail sort of hanging around, right? Okay, I'm gonna try something crazy. This is the first time I've ever done this. I'm gonna try recording the the pitch bend automation with the pitch bend from the keyboard without, like, directly, without doing it by mouse, right? Let's see if this actually works. Yeah, and we're gonna like glue these two together, and there you have it. You should have pitch as well in here. Yeah, there it goes. We just want it to sort of go on a little bit over here. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna put in an inverted snare or stuff like that. I'm gonna try to show you like a sort of vertical slice of how these things are gonna go, and then we're gonna go into more details. Well, Journal, it's really easy. So I'm actually using like a preset from an ethereal called Ethereal Pad in the Prologue synth from Cubase, which is a stock synth. I put in a Supermassive from Valhalla as a reverb on it, and I just did it with the pitch bend sort of mod wheel on the keyboard, and I just recorded that separately. I didn't touch any keys, and I recorded it over the part over here. And yeah, that's all it is. It does it automatically. It's amazing. Like, really, technology really is cool. I hope that answers your question. Oh, the keyboard has a thing. Dope. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a pretty sort of starter MIDI keyboard, but it does the job, at least for me, at least for now. The thing is that it doesn't really record, or at least I'm touching really softly on the keyboard. You see that this is the sort of velocity, and it's pretty low. Like, we can bump that up. I don't know if it actually changes anything on this synth. Let's see how it sounds like this. It probably just make it louder. Yeah, makes it louder. I like it. I'll keep it like that. I'll just make it a tad quieter over here, but it to kind of compensate for that and not make it sort of overpower the intro. I'll just do it like that. Alrighty then. I'm gonna put in some effects, and then I'm gonna put in a cut in the YouTube video. Because yeah, all of these again are gonna be available on my YouTube channel as well, and I think the link for it is on my Twitch profile as well. Okay, let's add in a sort of inverted snare and maybe like an impact or a bass drop or something like that, right? Let's do this. I want to add in 2, and I want to have them as a going into the effects group, and we're gonna call this inverted snare, and we're gonna call this sub drop, right? Okay. And there's a snare, which I think is snare 4. Let's see. There's like an old dubstep snare that I don't think it's this one. I really don't think it's this one, and I'm gonna make it a lot quieter because it's gonna destroy our ears, I think. Definitely not. There's an old like sort of a dubstep snare, dubstep pack of kicks and snares and stuff like that, drums that's been floating around the internet for a while, and I just nicked that. And all I really use from it is the inverted. Why are you sort of bit depth copy? Sample rate, I think this is the one. That is the one. Okay, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in here. I just double clicked on the clip, and I'm gonna go to add process, and I'm gonna reverse it. And that's all you need to do, really, and just make sure that it kind of sits well over here. Yeah, we're gonna make that fade out so that it doesn't clip or anything. And for ease of use, I'm gonna make the starting point fit on the bar so that everything works a lot better. Okay. And this is basically the effect. It's such a simple thing to do, but I think it adds a lot to the overall sound and makes it sound a little bit more professional and cinematic and stuff like that. Let's see. Let's find a sub drop. Let me import an audio file. Okay. And let's look together. So I've got these samples over here, and all of these have been, I've just been gathering them over the last months from any sort of free source I could find around the internet, and try to make sure that these are free sounds. and nothing really crazy about them. I think I have these samplified ones I bought as well, and maybe the IO as well, unless I'm mistaken. And this Trendsetter as well, yeah. This Slate one is, again, from the sort of Slate digital subscription, which is really cool. And the others I just found floating around, especially these, where are you? This game audio bundle is really cool. It's around like 200 gigs of sound effects that you can use in your game projects, and they were created for GDC, and they're totally free to use, which is really cool. But what do we want? We want a sub drop. Let's check this out. Bonus effects. Let's turn this down because it's gonna kill us. Definitely not what we're looking for. Samplified essentials, one shots, effects shots, impacts. That is definitely not a sub drop, I gotta say. Okay, rumor. There you go. This is really cool. I like this third one, but it's not a sub drop. Let me see. See, this is empty. I think I downloaded it, but I did not use it. Let's see if I can find a sub drop. We actually can use this as an impact. Let's use that. We're gonna name it to impact. Cheers, Mircea. Yeah, I announced it. So he's saying that he didn't know, didn't say anything about starting streaming. Yeah, it was a sort of spur of the moment decision. I've been contemplating it a while, but I started it. Decided like yesterday, really, and here I am. Okay, let's see how this impact fits. It works, it works. We can actually make it more of a sub drop. We're gonna name this impact 1, and we're gonna name it sort of like a sub. We're gonna use the built-in equalizer from Cubase. Can I actually turn you on? Thank you. This is not the one I want. This is not the EQ I'm looking for. We're gonna turn this down, and we're gonna move it over here. Right, to kind of cut out all of the high-end stuff and make it sound more like a sub drop, right? Which makes it a little more low-key. Yeah. Which I think is pretty cool, and we can layer it with another sort of sound later. Okay. Let's see what's going on in the chat. I'll replay this sort of intro again. Okay, and I'm gonna put in a cut for YouTube land. Cheers, see you in the next video.